I'll call the June the 30th, 2017 Board of Supervisors meeting to order. We do have a quorum. I'd like for everybody please stand. We have Derry Campbell from Wythe Seventh-day Adventist Church to do our invocation. And after the invocation, remain standing for the pledge, please.
Oh God, our Father, we thank you this morning for your love, for the blessings that you've given to this community, for your justice and your mercy. Thank you for the gift of life and the opportunity to serve the people of this city. Help this board today to act with character and conviction. Help us to listen with understanding and goodwill for each other. Help us to speak with charity and with restraint. Lord, give us today that spirit of service that you have given us an example. Remind us that we are not only stewards of our community, but also stewards of you and your authority. Guide us to be the leaders that your people need. Help us to remember the humanity and the dignity of those who disagree with us. Help us to treat all people, no matter how weak or poor, with the reverence that we deserve as your creation. And finally, Father, today I ask that you would renew each one of us with the strength of your presence, with the joy of helping to build a community that is worthy of the blessings that you give us. And we ask this as your sons and daughters, confident in your goodness, confident in the love that you have for each one of us. In the name of Jesus we pray. Amen.
Amen. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Again, welcome everyone this morning. We'll move into our agenda, citizens time. We have Pam Ball signed up first. Ms. Ball, please state your address.
My name is Pam Ball. I live at 1241 Major Grahams Road in Max Meadows. I come to you this morning to talk to you about the Wythe County Parks and Rec Department and decisions they have made lately and the damages those have done to two large groups of children in the Max Meadows area. In less than a week, they have had two teams disqualified from league softball and baseball tournaments based solely on decisions made by the Wythe County Parks and Rec Department. The 8 to 10-year-old girls softball team at the beginning of the season had two young ladies who were at the cutoff and just a few months past the age bracket. The county rec department wrote a letter or an email back to the coaches of that team saying to add them to the roster, they were okay to play. Those girls played all season, and it was fine when they played the Rural Retreat team at Rural Retreat and tied them. It was fine when they played Sheffey at home and lost. Those girls played those games. We came to the county tournament, were undefeated all the way through the tournament, came to the championship game of that tournament and told those two girls either had to be removed from the roster or the entire team was disqualified. The county rec department made the decision those girls would play and then backtracked. They would not stand behind the email they sent. They had meetings with the parents, told them the girls could play. After they told them to their face they could play, and they left the building, they sent them an email that the girls could not play. So as parents, we sat our girls down, and we explained to them that two of their teammates were not allowed to play. And as a team, the girls decided that if their friends couldn't play, the entire team would not play. So last Saturday at 11:30, we showed up as a team. We walked down to home plate to do the coin toss, and the girls told the umpire that they forfeited. He didn't know how to handle it, and I can't blame him. I wouldn't have known how to handle it either had I known it was coming. Josh, who was representing the town rec, who for some reason was handling the girls' tournament, said, well, whatever. He refused to give them the runner-up medals. He handed them to the coach and told her she could take care of it. And I'm sorry, that's poor sportsman on his part. He should have stood up like a man and presented the girls with the medals they rightly earned. So following that decision, season was over for them. The 10 to 12-year-old baseball boys continued this week with that tournament. They won the county. We went on to play the championship bracket at Carroll County on Wednesday night. They allowed the boys to play, let them finish the game, let them win the game, and waited until they left to challenge the pitching, the inning count for the pitchers, and then disqualified that entire team because the pitchers had pitched too many innings. This was all based off of an interpretation of the rules by the Wythe County Parks and Rec. There is a rule in the boys' tournament rules that pitchers can pitch a total of 15 innings for the entire tournament. Our tournament in Wythe County alone was 4 games, 6 innings apiece. It's 24 innings. There is no way a team without less than 6 pitchers can handle that. We didn't know. We were given the interpretation by the county. We went to Carroll County. They knew coming in. That Parks and Rec department knew coming in our boys were already over. They had already discussed it with the other team. They let us play and then disqualified us once they confirmed we were over. We had no representation at that conference. There was no representative from Wythe County other than our coaches. And Carol and Grayson made that decision on their own. Our Wythe County Parks and Rec representative, who have cell phones paid for by this county, could not be reached to have that consultation. There was no answer on the phone. So I ask you today, gentlemen, to please stand up for the kids of this county. They cannot continue to suffer under the decisions this group are making. They have acknowledged that they were wrong in their interpretation of the result of the rules for the boys, but that acknowledgement does nothing for the kids. The kids are the ones suffering for the decisions they are making. And I have an 11-year-old boy right now at home who is so mad about this whole situation. Both of my kids, I had a kid on each team. They worked like dogs all season to have it ripped out from under them. And what are we teaching them? We are teaching them nothing. It is our goal as parents to teach our children that hard work pays off. And for both of these teams, hard work did nothing. So I ask you for your help today to address the decisions that have been made. Thank you.
That's all I want to say, that, we've heard your complaints, and to me, it's inexcusable.
Yes.
And I think there's some things that's got to be discussed and some changes that's got to be made. And I've let my feelings be known to Mr. Bear, and we're going to take care of the situation.
Well, and I feel like at this point, we have 30 kids at this point involved in this. That handling this administratively is not going to be enough. There needs to be something publicly demonstrated to restore faith in this group. That at this point, there is no faith in the decisions they make. For all appearances, it is that they talk out of both sides of their mouth. Today, they tell you this in person, and tomorrow they turn around and do the exact opposite. And I really would like to see that remedy.
Thank you, Mrs. Ball.
Thank you.
Next, Josh Porter.
Jacob.
Jacob. I'm sorry.
7692 Peppers Ferry. And I'm here, it's going to be tough to follow up what Mrs. Ball said, but I was one of the assistant coaches for the 10 to 12 Max Meadows Vikings baseball team. Wes Billings was their head coach. Nick Ferentz was their pitching coach. They couldn't be here today, so I volunteered to come and address you gentlemen about this. But as I said, Mrs. Ball has done a fantastic job. But the truth is, these guys worked so hard. For the last 3 years, they have struggled. They've had coaching issues. They've had all kinds of issues that they've had to overcome, which is why myself and the other coaches stepped up this year. We've worked with these kids, and we walked into this season, played a doubleheader, and we lost. They had trained hard, played hard, the complete training season before we got started the games, and they pulled out of that. Our last 8 games were all wins consecutively. 5 of those wins were tournament games, and the last one was the championship game that we won the other night. After that game was over, we walked out, and we were essentially ambushed by the Carroll County Parks and Recreation, and they knew pretty much going in exactly what happened, because not only were we there, but for the 7 to 9 bracket, the Wytheville team had won, and the Wytheville team had just played and they lost, fair and square. They just lost the game. But when they turned in their pitching record, they were told, oh, by the way, had you won, you would have been disqualified. Our game had not started. At that point, we could have been informed, but we were not. We played, we won, we were disqualified. Wythe County Parks and Rec had nobody there to represent us whatsoever. Floyd County had a representative, Carroll County and Grayson County had representatives. It was myself, the coaches, and the parents. I don't know what can be done, but something has to be done. And I'm not done with Wythe County because I'm going to Carroll County as well. This was unfair, and I pushed to attempt to get a replay of the game. Carroll County would not hear that. And as far as I know, I don't even know if it was presented to them, because the gentleman involved with Wythe County Parks and Rec would not talk to me. He only would talk to Wes, the head coach. So we got an email back. My understanding is they accepted responsibility and apologized. That doesn't do anything for the 12-year-olds, the 11-year-olds, and the 10-year-olds, and 14 parents that I had to address yesterday to inform them that we were disqualified. So now we have a black eye because we're cheaters. We were disqualified, and that's just inexcusable. So I just want to make our stance clear in the fact that we're going to pursue every avenue possible to correct this in some manner and restore our image and the image for our children, because that's what this boils down to. These kids weren't just disappointed, they were crushed. Everything they worked for was taken from them. That's pretty much it.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Porter. Oh, Brian, you're from AEP. We'll take care of that later. Ms. Myers? Ms. Myers?
Yes, good morning, gentlemen. I don't know if you're aware, but as of July 1st, with tomorrow, the Washington County has waived all non-mandated fees associated with concealed carry permits. And here in Wythe County, the fees associated are $35 in addition to the mandated fee from the state, which is $15. So I appreciate you guys consider doing that in the next year sometime. Take it up, and all the permit carriers in the county would certainly appreciate that. Okay, that's one item. With the stormwater debacle that happened at the Expo Center, who's responsible for that oversight and the charges? Does that come out of the lane group, or does that $13,000 that we were assessed by EPA or whoever, what happened with that?
Mr. Barr, you want to address that?
Yes, the Wythe County is the permit holder on that. We contracted with a construction firm for the work to be constructed out there. They are the firm that did not construct or did not meet the stormwater management plans. And as we were doing project closeout with them, that fee will be under discussion with them for their responsibility for failure to construct and build to the stormwater management plans.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. And with discussion with other people this week, everybody's really happy with Stephen Bear, and we are so delighted that he is our administrator. His conscientious efforts are appreciated, and we're real happy about that. Thank you, Stephen.
Thank you, Ms. Myers.
Oops, my agenda.
That is all that's signed up for citizens' time, but I'll open the floor if anybody else would like to speak.
Oh,
Here.
one other thing, Gene Horning. We have a law on the books from 1962 about the weeds, those wonderful weeds that you're growing in your pasture. Are you going to do anything about those?
I've got a hoe at the house. It's got your name on it.
No, not me. I've got my own. They're all gone. So just review that ordinance. Thank you.
Okay. Seeing none, I'll close citizens' time and move on with our agenda. We have the minutes of the previous meeting of June the 13th and 20th, 2017 to be approved. I'll entertain a motion to approve.
Mr. Chairman, I make it.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any correction or changes? Hearing none, I'll do a roll call vote. Dr. Hausman?
Aye.
And chair votes aye. Next item on the agenda is payment of invoices. Entertain a motion to pay the invoices.
So moved.
Have a second.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any invoice any board member would like to discuss or pull out?
The non-employment compensation, that was for the primary
Yes.
electoral, okay.
Okay, any more questions? Hearing none, I'll do a roll call vote. Mr. Horny?
Aye.
And the chair votes aye. Old business, Mr. Burge, anything under, well, we do have, we have a whole list of stuff under old business. I just didn't realize that. Okay, adoption of the proposed tax rate for calendar year 2017. Real estate, 49 cents, personal property, $2.32. Merchant's capital, 56 cents, and machining tool, $1.50. Entertain a motion to adopt the proposed tax rate.
I'll make that motion.
They have a second.
Second.
Have a motion and a second to adopt the proposed tax rate. Any discussion? Hear none, we'll do a roll call vote. Dr. Hausman?
Aye.
And the chair votes aye. So the proposed tax rate is adopted. Adoption of the FY18 budget. I entertain a motion to adopt the budget.
I'll make that motion.
They have a second.
I'll second.
Have a motion and a second to adopt the FY18 budget. Any discussion?
And this does include the money for renovation
Yep.
for the school.
The budget committee met and went over this, so these are questions, y'all. What did we maintain in the budget we had discussed and for maintenance of county buildings, a couple of staff positions, is that still in the budget?
Yes.
Everything that Mr. Barrett presented to us the other day in that,
In our budget meeting
is
is-
still included.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Comments? Hearing none, do a roll call vote. Mr. Horny?
Aye.
And the chair votes aye. Next item is adoption of FY18 revenue and expenditure report. Entertain a motion to approve.
I'll make that motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
These are, like the revenue, I mean, it's just preliminary figures based on, logical projections. So, I mean, I know that we have numbers here. The numbers may go up, numbers may go down, so this is just for budgetary process.
And it's a balance between the revenue budget and the
Right.
proposed expenditure budget.
Any other questions? Comments? Hearing none. Do a roll call vote. Dr. Hausman?
Aye.
And the chair votes aye. Next item is appointments. Crossroads Regional, can't see it. Authority, Dr. Harold Hausman, you've been on that. You want to continue to serve to the end of the year?
I mean, I'll be glad to, to serve to the end of the year. I'm, the vice chair and the signator on it. So, I mean, if that's okay with you all, I'll be glad to do it till December 31st.
I entertain a motion to reappoint Dr. Hausman.
So moved. Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? New River, New River Mount Rogers Workforce Development Area Consortium Board, 4-year term. Does anybody have a business representative that they have talked to that will serve on this committee? We need to be looking for someone and get that vacancy filled. West Whipple Recreation Commission Board. Mr. Lester, have you found anybody to fill that vacancy in the West Whipple district?
Not yet.
Okay. Stephen, is anything else under old business?
Mr. Chairman, I do not know of any other business.
Okay, moving on into reports. Ms. Gwen, good morning.
Good morning.
How are you this lovely morning?
Good. How are you all? Happy kind of sort of New Year's Eve, I suppose. Right?
Yeah.
Since we get
In a way.
to, when you're in government work, you get two New Years and two New Year Eve.
Happy New
Year's
Year
Eves.
tomorrow. Huh?
The financial report that was distributed to you for the month of May shows in our consolidated account, we have $55,297,449. Of that, the general fund contains $38,138,864. So, of course, next month we'll see, or get more finalized on month end for June, but that's kind of where we stand at this point. I have had an employee to leave since the last time I was here. I am advertising that position. It's one of my clerks that works out front that has most of the interaction with the public. So hopefully by the next time I come, I'll have a new employee in the office. We have done our own internal training session on the tax side of the computer system to try to make sure we're all on the same page, work out a few of our kinks that we've discovered that seemed to go well. We did that about 2 weeks ago. We closed the office for a couple of hours, but we're still paddling. We're not, I feel like fully above water yet, but we're getting there. Still working on some issues with Mr. Southers, just because he knows the ins and outs of the background that we don't deal with. So that's kind of where we are at this point. So anybody have anything?
Anybody have any questions? Ms. Gwen?
I don't know if this is for Lori or for us, but the difference in the general fund, is that because of like the year-end closeouts and things like that?
Are you referring to the?
I'm talking about
like the
line
1.1?
101,000, general fund, a difference of 1.1.
Okay, that's going to be a decrease in our cash since month end of April. So, of course, more invoices paid, probably larger invoices paid and things
Well, that's
like
why I
that.
was wondering if things were coming at the end of the fiscal
It's a
year.
combination
You
of that.
get a
and
lot at
you're
the end of the
getting-
year.
Between now and October, you don't get much new revenue
Mm-hmm.
coming in on the general fund side. So, yeah.
And June will probably be a big month as well with expenses because I know departmentally, we're all trying to get our year-end stuff in
Right.
to be paid as far as what you guys just approved earlier. But I would say you would see a big decrease for June as well, in all
Okay.
probability.
Makes sense.
We're
Anybody?
kind of on the downhill slide until we get to tax season. That kind of starts the hustle and bustle in September. October will change a little bit, but November, December will be our big revenue months.
And that is one of the advantages of these new reports. It used to be you just got the sum amount each one. With this column adds so you can see
Yeah.
the decreases.
You can see the process as it goes. Okay.
Okay, anybody else have any questions?
Thank you,
Ms.
fellas.
Gwen.
Appreciate this one.
Commissioner Revenue, Faye, good morning.
Good morning, gentlemen. I had a cramp in the back of my leg last night. It's killing me still. The only other thing I have, we are still having issues with some of the things on the computer, and David's still working with us. The mobile homes, Munis has no idea how to handle them. So we have to put them back in the old system, and then David will download them into the new system. So it's just it seems like it's one thing after another with it, it's just not good for our office, I just don't think. Because it seems like every time we have something, they don't know how to handle it, and so David has to do it. So it's just like what it was when we were before, David has to be there. And still, we have the problem with the DMV, the motor vehicles are on munis. When we touch one vehicle, if we exonerate it off, it touches every other, if you have more than one vehicle, it touches every vehicle on there. And I just hope that we catch them all, is all. Because it'll take everything off. If we exonerate one vehicle, it takes everything off of the whole ticket. And so we've got to be really careful with watching that. So to me, there should be something that they can do with that, but they're saying there's not, so. But we have these issues with it, so it just.
A new system is hard to, and hopefully everything.
Well, it's not that we don't want to learn, and we are learning it. It's just some of the things, it doesn't work with our office, so. Okay. Anybody have any questions?
I would suggest if Ms. Barker will write down, give us documentation of what does not work, that, through the county administrator's office, we address that with the company and get their, not just what they say, but get their written response.
Okay. Thank you.
Stephen, will you set up a meeting with me, with David, me and you? Okay, Sheriff. Good morning, Sheriff.
I want to catch you guys up on the trash situation. In April, from January to April, when we were doing the part-time stuff, it only picked up 45 bags of trash weighing about 1,300 pounds. And since you've hired somebody full-time in May and June, those numbers have, you've got currently through June, not counting today, 1,620 bags of trash with a weight of almost 50,000 pounds, and they've covered 279 miles. And this list has the roads that they've been on. I'm gonna leave this with Mr. Bear, so if you, I meant to make a copy for all of you, but I got it.
We've actually included the report you gave me in the board package.
Yeah.
So they've got the May and June numbers with the list of roads, so thank you.
Good.
I don't, I'm sorry, April and May numbers were, we don't have the June numbers, but we'll include that in the next package as well.
I'll leave this with you. I'll leave this with Mr. Bear. It shows you on the side what roads we picked up, and if you've got something you want to bring to our attention, we'll be glad to address it now, because it's pretty easy at this point.
I've seen them out all over the county, and they're doing a good job.
The only real problem that we've had is VDOT's been slow a couple times picking up the bags. And by the time they got there, dogs had busted into them, or wild animals or something like that. I just don't know if we could rectify that or not.
Well, we'll have Stephen to call
I've
VDOT.
talked with VDOT about that issue, and in fact, I talked to them the other day about an area y'all were in, and went by there the next day, and they were picked up. So they are trying to improve that situation. But I will agree, that was, the bags were fading out completely and getting destroyed.
Yeah,
Hopefully that issue's been resolved.
Yeah, it took them 2 or 3 days on Chapman Road to pick them up the last time.
Yeah. That's all I have, unless you got some questions. for me.
Anybody got any questions for the sheriff? Everything quiet in the county?
No.
Okay.
I'd like to say thank you. Even the new road looks good.
Yeah,
I see them over in there, so I know they're picking up correct.
yeah. They're staying busy.
I have had no calls.
As long as we keep getting the inmates the way we're getting them, we'll be able to continue to do that. And one thing that surprised me, we've only had to put Erickson in the courts 2 days and 1 day a month because of weather. So if the weather keeps cooperating with us, we'll be able to get to some places we would normally get to.
I was going to ask Stephen this, in some of these areas where there are large items like tires and refrigerators and stuff like that that they come across, how can we take care of that problem?
You talk about the dumping sites?
Yeah, that and I think it's Foster Falls Road, I had some complaints of tires and some dumping places that people load stuff
We've got
over.
some cameras that we got through the Forestry Service bottom force, and we got those that we can put on dumping sites.
I don't think it's really a dumping site, it's just all
Place
along.
here and there.
Yeah, along the road.
I don't know what you can do about that. We cleaned up a couple dumping sites, but the problem we had is if it doesn't come from the roadway, then VDOT don't want to haul it off. So we end up having to haul those off.
Well, some of them places, I know we have a dump truck, the water department, we could borrow it, and maybe we could get it loaded up and take
I
it to
hadn't thought about that.
take it to the transfer station ourselves. So,
All right,
okay.
thank you.
Thank you, Sheriff.
We are working with the sheriff on a couple items. He's got some old light bars and a bunch of things that need to be surplus. Martha's working with him on getting those listed in lots on Gov Deals to get rid of those. We will be getting, he sent me a memo, we'll have it to you by the next meeting. He's got a vehicle down there that they have robbed, stolen, taken everything off of it possibly can. It is not sellable as a vehicle, and we need to get that declared surplus and hauled off. So we're working on some of the things down at McKent's Lane to get that area cleaned up. So just wanted to let you know those things will be coming up.
Right. Some of those are going to be, I think we're going to try a couple of forfeited vehicles on the Gov site to see if we can get a little more money than we've been getting them, just at letting people bid on them. So
Fine.
I'll be sending that up to you too.
Okay, well,
Thank
take care of it. Thank you, Sheriff. Next,
Let's stand back a minute.
Sheriff?
You got a minute? Ms. Myers brought up this thing about the carry permit. The board has nothing to do with setting those rates. Would you mind telling her that that's the rate that you set instead of the board?
It is. It's a rate that the sheriff can charge per person, and that's to do the background check on the person that's getting the handgun permit.
Well, these are renewals, so is there any chance of?
When you do a renewal, you have to go through the same process as you do when you do the initial background check. You have to do it all over again.
But it's costing us $10 more to do it here than it was in Washington County, and,
That's up to the sheriff in Washington County. There's a set fee he can charge, and up to that point.
okay. But would you consider in your budget
Well,
conceding?
I don't have
waiving the
enough
fees
of a
and-
budget now.
Well, I realize that, but in the future.
If it gets to the point where we have excess money in the budget, yeah, I would, but I don't see that happening anytime soon.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Keith.
Thank you, Sheriff. Fire and Rescue Committee.
Mr. Chairman, the Fire and Rescue Committee met on June the 19th, 2017, and recommends adopting the attached memorandum of understanding for the shared regional 911 customer premise equipment. And what this is just it is a memorandum of understanding between all the people that that share the equipment, and it will it's for the procurement, the design, and implementation of that customer premise equipment. And once we if we approve this, it'll be in effect for 5 years, and this is which is just coming up now because we have to renew.
Okay, come.
And Mr. Bearhead,
Mr. Chairman, if I might, thank you, Dr. Nelson. Excellent description and explanation of exactly what it is. Ms. Darlene Lane got an email from the Twin County 911 dispatchers yesterday, lead dispatcher, department head over there. They've been working on this entire grant with the company. There are some changes in the Appendix B that are proposed, which is the cost sharing and all of that. Ms. Lang and I talked with her until about 6 o'clock yesterday. I would request that you not take action upon that. Let us get the revises and changes from them and take this up at a future meeting.
Okay, bring it back to the Fire and Rescue Committee for review and.
I'll withdraw that then.
Okay. Water Committee.
The Water Committee met on June 20th, 2017, and recommends the following. First is to accept Pete and Board's proposal to conduct a disinfection byproduct study for the Wythe County Western Water System. This is just a study to figure out if we've got a problem, and if we do, how we can fix it.
Okay, come from committee, it doesn't need a second. Any discussion or questions? Hearing none, I'll do a roll call vote. Dr. Hausman?
Aye.
All right.
The chair votes aye.
Number 2 is to adopt the Exit 24 wastewater improvements contract to change order number 2, a decrease of $3,514.
Okay, again, come from committee, it doesn't need a second. Any questions or discussion? Hearing none, I'll do a roll call vote. Mr. Horny?
Aye.
All right.
Aye.
The chair votes aye.
Number 3 is to send a letter to Rural Development requesting to self-fund the Raper Ridge project from the Utilities Capital Projects Fund. Can't read this morning.
Okay, again, come from committee, it doesn't need a second. Any questions or discussion?
That's just the initial payment, and then
In lieu
we
of-
pay up front and then be reimbursed.
In lieu of us getting interim financing for the project and then
Yeah.
getting all that at the end, we could self-fund and not have to go.
Yeah. Any more questions or discussion? Hear none, do a roll call vote. Dr. Hausman?
Aye.
All right.
The chair votes aye.
And
Next.
the 4th one is to approve the legal service agreement with Rural Development for the Raper Ridge project.
Okay, again, come from committee, it doesn't need a second. Any questions or discussion?
Just for information, rural development requires an individual agreement for each of their projects. This is based off of they won't accept our current contract of county attorney, so this is basically just taking the rates and everything out of our current contract, putting it into their form and turning it in.
Okay. Any more questions or discussion? Hear none, we'll do a roll call vote. Dr. Hausman?
Aye.
All right.
The chair votes aye. Anything else from the Water Committee? Hearing none, Economic Development Committee?
Economic Development Committee met on June 22, and the following action items: to approve change order 1 through 4 and 1.5, 1.4, and 1.5 with Baker Construction Services for Apex rough grading.
Okay, come from committee, it doesn't need a second. Any questions or discussion? Hearing none, I'll do a roll call vote. Mr. Horny?
All right.
No.
And the chair votes aye. Motion passes 6-1. Next item,
To approve the proposal from 3B Consulting Service to conduct a stream delineation at the cost not to exceed $2,000. And a little bit of explanation on that. That is to do a wetland study and a report by an independent consultant.
again, come from committee, it doesn't need a second. Any questions or discussion?
And it's a contract to get it done quicker, is that what this is for? I understand that.
Yeah, 3 to 4 months quicker. It's done now and the report's back. And it saved money, Gary.
Oh, that wasn't the way I read it, but that's okay.
Well, we'd be glad to let Mr. Vaughn explain what it did for us. It was the best answer we could have hoped for.
The recommendation in the report from the say U.S. Army Corps of Engineers Certified Wetland Delineator, so it's qualified, is that it's an ephemeral stream and it's non-jurisdictional, which takes out a lot of the regulatory requirements that we have to deal with as far as that quote stream, unquote, is. And this was required by DEQ for some reason, as the Lane Group is working with the stormwater permit and plan approvals for phase 2. So it's good news for us.
And that report will stand for future development of other land down that drainage.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, income committee doesn't need a second. Any more discussion or questions? Hear none, we'll do a roll call vote. Dr. Hausman?
No.
Aye.
All right.
Chair votes aye. Motion passes 6-1. Next item.
The next item is to approve easement number 3 and 4 with Appalachian Power Company.
Okay, income from committee, it doesn't need a second. You want to summarize?
Mr. Chairman, yes, Mr. Delaney is here, who we've been negotiating and working with on behalf of ADP. As you will recall, ADP is working on putting another 138 kV line coming into the substation there at Progress Park. What you have in front of you here is an easement that parallels the existing easement across Progress Park, 100-foot easement south of the existing easement, running from the west to the east to the existing substation. It is broken down into 2 separate easements, and that is because the old property line, part of the old Southers farm and parts on the old Ratliff farm, so that's why it's broken into the 2 easements.
Any more questions or discussion? Hear none, we'll do a roll call vote. Dr. Hausman?
Aye.
Aye.
All right.
And the chair votes aye. Anything else?
Y'all approved that, but I guess if you all will also, just for clarification, just give permission for the chairman of the county administrator to sign all documents to deal with that easement.
So moved.
Have a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Okay, Budget Committee.
Mr. Chairman, the Budget Committee met on June 28th and made the following 2 recommendations. The first one, in regards to the Commonwealth Attorney's Office, is to transfer $4,539.58 from the state asset forfeiture account to the county furniture and fixtures account, which is 2201-470-015, and that's for a computer purchase.
Okay, come from committee, it doesn't need a second. Any questions or discussion? Hear none, we'll do a roll call vote. Dr. Hausman?
Aye.
Aye.
All right.
And the chair votes aye. Next item.
Second recommendation is to adopt the fiscal year 17 year-end and carryover report. The carryover for the Department of Social Services is contingent upon confirmation of the final year-end numbers.
Okay, again, coming from committee, it doesn't need a second. Any questions or discussion? Hear none, we'll do a roll call vote. Mr. Horny?
Aye.
All right.
Aye.
The chair votes aye. That's all from the Budget Committee. Next, County Administrator's Report.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The first item is informational report that we have been given the construction permit for the Wythe County Speedwell Phase 3 construction. Bids were just received Thursday, I believe, on this project. The engineer is working on the reviewing of those, and those will be coming to you at an upcoming meeting following review with the Water Committee. No action needed, just information.
Okay.
Next item, informational also, very good. The had an inspection of the animal shelter. There were no significant findings of non-compliance at the animal shelter, so we had a good report there.
I'm sorry, this is after, with these new stringent guidelines, isn't it? Shoot.
Also, to let y'all know, we are working, there is an individual here in Wytheville that has offered to purchase 2 of the split unit air conditioning units for the shelter, to go in the shelter, so we are working with them on getting 2 units to go in the shelter that will help tremendously during the summer months. So once we get all that documented and finalized, we'll certainly be expressing our appreciation to them and give them recognition.
That's great.
Final item I have is an elevator equipment agreement. The Buildings and Grounds Department last year, actually last May of last year, was looking at making changes to the elevator contract. We were already locked in for another year with that elevator contract and had to give them a long lead notice. So we went ahead and gave them the notice. We have put out bids. Bids have come back in, and the prices are substantially lower than what we are currently, where we're currently paying, and recommend awarding the contract for the elevator maintenance to Wythe Truck, the amount of $6,984.
I entertain a motion to accept the county.
I make that motion.
Have a motion and a second. Any discussion or questions? Hear none, we'll do a roll call vote. Dr. Hausman?
Aye.
Aye.
Yeah.
The chair votes aye. Do you have anything else, Mr. Bear?
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman, I do believe that is all.
Okay, county attorney's report.
I
Mr.
don't have
Farley?
anything to report at this time.
Okay, thank you. Now we go on to supervisor's report, Black Lake District.
Yeah, I received a call from a constituent a couple days ago, I guess, and of course he was talking about the noise ordinance, and I was able to explain, that. But then he said something I think may very well be a good idea. He asked how we advertised for public hearings, because he said he didn't know. And I said, well, we put it in the paper, we put it on our website, we put it on the radio, and he said, well, that he really didn't listen to the radio, he didn't get the paper, and didn't always remember to look at the website. This is what he asked, and I think and I don't know if it's doable, but I think it's a good idea. He asked if there was a way that people could sign up with email or text, and I thought of our Everbridge system. I know we can put out alerts, and I don't know if it's possible that when we get ready to have a public hearing, that we can, for anybody who wants to sign up for that aspect of it, if they could sign up, and we could send a notice out that we're going to have a public hearing on whatever particular issue. The email, I know there's still a lot of people that certainly use email, but most everybody I found out have one of these phones that you can text on. I don't know if that's a possibility or not. I told him I thought it was a really good idea.
It's a great idea to use the technology. If you will allow me to work with staff and see if there's something we can come up with to do it, that's good citizen engagement, and we'll see what we can do.
Well, and I know that when it first came out, we could sign up for the weather alerts, and some of those come from the National Weather Organization. I understand that, but some of them come locally. But this thing was designed so that we can send out alerts or notices for anything that we need to. Well, I think if we can do that, I think that it will go a long way toward helping us. When people say, "Well, I didn't know," if we can, if they want to sign up and we can send out those notices. So I'll make that, Mr. Chairman, as a recommendation. If Mr. Bear, as he said, would work on it, I think that'll help.
Well, I agree with you. I guess the same person called me too, and I told him I'd check on it too. And as far as I know, and I don't know there's any restrictions on Everbridge that we can.
No, and we'll look and see if that's the best platform for it, or if there's another
I
platform.
think we still need to put it in the paper, and
Oh,
the
sure.
website,
Yeah,
and all these other things. And if we can add one more thing to notify people, it's better.
Well, I'd like to put one restriction on it.
Okay.
We don't get any notifications after 11 a.m.
Well, that's up to you. You can set the time.
At 2 or 3 o'clock, and then call and tell you the weather event's over 2 hours later, I think is a little much.
Yeah, I think we can set a time limit on it. But that's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, West Whipple, Mr. Lester.
I've had several calls concerning noise ordinance. People were opposed to it, concerned with it. That's all at this time.
Okay. East Whipple, Mr. Willis.
Wanted to thank Mr. Bear and his staff for helping with the complaint on the trash transfer station up on 52. Appreciate y'all digging to the bottom of it. That's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. Fort Chiswell District, Mr. Hale.
For the people in the Port Chisholm District, we've had some success with VDOT and looking forward to a very active maintenance and construction schedule this summer.
Lead Mines District.
I had a call from Mr. Lloyd Cox. I'm not sure if I discussed that with you or not. See, that's scraping the road.
Filling up the drainage ditches?
I don't have to tell you what road it is.
Yeah.
No, and I have had several calls about this recreation issue, and I hope that we can get this worked out.
Yeah.
That's all I have.
Speedwell District, Mr. Horny.
Like Gary and everybody else, I've had a lot of complaints on the noise ordinance of the past. I think it's something that we may have to go back and tweak and look at. But I also think it's kind of like the law that Linda brought up about the thistles. It's one of them that it may not be really enforceable. I mean, Sorrell had told me about the law that she brought up earlier, and if you can't enforce it on VDOT, how are you going to enforce it on the citizens?
Yeah.
I mean, you can't, VDOT keeps thistles in their right of way, so. But I think the noise ordinance is something we're gonna have to go back and look at, I believe.
Well, a lot of people's reading a lot of things into the noise ordinance that's not there.
They may have, I don't know.
And,
But I think Gary's got an excellent idea, because I couldn't understand why the first time we tried to pass a noise ordinance, we were packed. And then last time, there was very little people here.
Well, everybody was for it was here.
Yeah, but everybody that was against it evidently didn't know about it. And I couldn't figure out, I mean, I knew we probably advertised the same way, and I just didn't understand.
Well, you know, a lot of things that's been reading into it is people doing work. I mean, during the day, like cutting corn. I mean, it's actual work. It's not something like somebody's actually playing a radio just trying to disturb somebody. I mean, a lot of it's a little bit of common sense, but I agree with you. We can go back and clarify some things in the noise ordinance. Probably would be a good thing to do.
All right, that's all I have.
Okay, at large, as far as the county, I will give a report. Me and Mr. Hill went to the VACO Region 12 and 13 meeting in Washington County last night. We had a good meeting. We had several delegates show up. There were several, just about every county board was represented at the meeting. Had a lot of representatives, had a good meeting. There's a lot of things that for the legislative agenda coming up in the spring. Equal taxation between cities, counties, and towns was mentioned. Mr. Hill, you want to help me from some other things that were mentioned?
Well, it all boiled down to revenue and lack of. We had overwhelming support for that Tim's worked so hard on, of equal taxing ability, and most citizens don't know that towns have different revenue streams that counties are not allowed to have, but we provide the services. We need more revenue streams. Everybody jumped on that one. One fellow was very adamant in Dickinson County, and there's not 1 foot of 4-lane road in Dickinson County, and I'm not sure there's red light in Dickinson County, but they're isolated. They don't have, but one of the things he brought up was that one that I'm big on, and not picking on any office or anybody, collect all the taxes are available. Lori and Ms. Barker have heard me say this. And in those counties that have very low tax base to start with, they've got to go for more. We've got to have more revenue streams, and we got overwhelming support for that. Uniformly, every county was for economic development and a cadre of ideas about how to do that. We got a presentation from the Tobacco Commission that was a new thing for them. They want to promote $10 million worth of investment toward Wi-Fi and broadband, and basically throwing $10 million at a $100 million project will at least get it started maybe, but will it be completed in our lifetime? Probably doubt it, but it's a good start, and I think that's a cornerstone of economic development. Economic development leads to a better life and a better revenue stream for the counties, but the legislature is what's in the way. Everybody in here believes that local government is the best government, but in Virginia, we're not allowed to govern by the legislature. You can't do anything except deal with what they tell you can do. And unfunded mandates, you can sit in Richmond and live in a different world and then put the responsibility back on the counties to fund it, and you curtail their way to raise revenue. So it's just kicking the can down the road, as George Bush said, or we're shifting the buck to the locals that the state doesn't want to deal with. So it was a good meeting, the biggest turnout we've ever had.
Yes.
And it even from here to Lee County is a big socio-economic chasm. And when you consider from Roanoke to Millsboro, and then go to Richmond to Millsboro, you're off the planet. Those people have no idea where Southwest Virginia is or what our challenges are. And this Region 12 and Region 13 have an opportunity to do that. The people in Northern Virginia are not our enemies. We need to get their sympathy and get them to send missionary help here in the form of money. Fighting with them, we can't win. We had that experience about 150 or 60 years ago. So we've got to work on their sympathies and their good side to try to get them to consider that people in Southwest Virginia and people in South Side have a total different problem, a total different economic situation. And I think reaching out to the rest of the state is better than fighting with the rest of the state.
Okay, and I also mentioned, for the school system, there was a lot of questions on SOQ and non-funded positions from the state that they felt like they needed the state to pick up more costs to that. And also the coal regions, the tax that the roads in Southwest Virginia, everybody knows that they received money from the coal industry as far as coal severance tax, and they're not collecting much of that anymore, and they're not getting that money sent back to them for road construction and stuff, and that was a big issue. It was a good meeting. VACO lobbies hard in Richmond in the fall for us out here in Southwest Virginia. There's a lot of things that's brought up that will benefit us. We can just get enough people down there to talk to our representatives in Richmond and convince them to vote for it is the biggest thing. But we're moving right on down the road.
Mr. Chairman, in that
Yes.
line, I see Mr. Bear sent an email about VACO's 2018 legislative program and policy statements. And I noticed that you had put up at the top, that obviously cigarette legislation was our primary legislative issues, but I don't see any any legislative statements
Well,
on the email.
We're
It's-
developing that now this summer.
So it's not a preliminary, this is just, all this does is just give us a scheduled meetings.
Yeah, and just
Okay.
to give information back to them of things we want to be considered in the
Okay, all right,
development.
I thought when it said 2018 legislative program, I thought that it would have, actually, preliminary.
Well, the steering
Yeah, how-
committees meet during the year. They've already started the meetings. I've had one meeting already. And at the end of the year in November, we'll adopt, everything comes together and we'll adopt a agenda package to go to.
So how, we will know from each committee what they're going to recommend?
Yes.
Okay.
Tim, I'd like to add that. Tim serves on a steering committee. Charlie serves on the Economic Development Steering Committee, and I'm on Transportation. You do get some input and a presence at those meetings, and obviously all the roads and road dollars don't need to go to Hampton Roads and go to 6 counties in Northern Virginia. And this is the one place that we've got a voice to help that. Now, the smart road plan come under severe criticism last night. And we were told that the chairman of the Commonwealth Transportation Board is going to address that this summer. And he's going to come to Southwest Virginia and have a hearing. Will anybody show up? They seldom do. And he gets up there and gives a very boring speech, strike that from the minutes. And it's all about why we can't do something. There's never anything in there why we can do something.
Well, I guess the reason I'm asking is because of the cigarette tax legislation. I'd like to know, is VACO actually going to push that, or is it?
Well, they've been pushing it. I went down last year, last 2 years, I went down and testified in the Senate Finance Committee and the House Finance Committee on the issue, and we've been fortunate that Senator Carrico and Delegate Campbell has presented the bills, and I will say,
they weekly present the bill.
I mean, Delegate Campbell gets up and speaks really good for it. And there's several delegates in Northern Virginia that speak for it. There's several people. The Sheriff's Association spoke for it. There's several, and one advocate for the tobacco spoke against it, and they tabled it in the committee.
Well, I guess with Delegate Campbell, the reason I'm asking is because I know that he presented it, but it says presented.
Well, it is at a request. I requested it, or we requested it, for the county. It didn't.
Okay, but you're saying he's 100% behind it?
Yes.
Okay, I'm all right then.
The main thing, Gary, the American Heart Association stepped forward. They were 100% for it. The one hearing that I heard a person speak against it was just illogical. He said, well, this is a false tax because less people are smoking every day. Well, people that smoke are going to smoke the last day they live. So saying it's not a good tax because it won't be around forever, that's just foolish rhetoric to be negative.
Well, I think it's a height of hypocrisy when state and federal governments spend money to try to get people to quit using tobacco, and then they, here we've got something that in all honesty may, make people, quit if they have to pay more, but yet there's.
It's purely a political question. Most people here don't know that towns and cities can charge that tax, counties can't.
And Wythe does have a cigarette tax, about 15 cents per pack.
And of course, I'm certainly no legal scholar, but I swear, reading the Constitution and the Code of Virginia, it looks to me like, I don't care if they do name Fairfax and Arlington County, it looks to me like everybody has that same, should have that same ability. So I say we charge it and go to the Supreme Court of Virginia.
That's one of the things we agree on.
Will you be the one to go to jail? But
They don't send anybody to jail anymore.
I have asked, as right now, we can't even put it on a referendum. Meals tax you can put on a referendum, but a cigarette tax, and I have asked Senator Carrico and Delegate Campbell to look in about, we're still, pushing for equal taxation between city, counties, and towns, but also maybe give us the ability to put it on a referendum and on next fall ballot. It'll help a lot of counties. It'll tremendously help our county to keep the taxes low and do some other things that we need to do. But the biggest thing, it will help keep our taxes low in Wythe County. And a lot of it will be paid from people that don't even live here in Wythe County. And we're fortunate to have 6 or 7 truck stops in the county that you wouldn't believe that the people that come through here buy cartons of cigarettes and, and we're not collecting no revenue from it. The state is, but we don't have that ability to do that. So hopefully it's upcoming. I'll be back down there in January and advocating for that and some other things, and hopefully we can get something done.
Well,
either get it to put on a referendum, or it's a pull and tug down there trying to get everybody together to try to get it out of committee. That's
Mr. Chairman, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to get us down in the weeds. It's just that, I'm not in favor of, raising taxes, but if it's a tax that the only reason you pay it is because you want it,
But other than that, okay, we'll move on with our agenda under new business. We have the consent calendar. Entertain a motion to approve the consent calendar.
I'll make that motion, Mr. Chairman.
To have a second.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any questions or discussion on the June 30th consent calendar? Hearing none, we'll do a roll call vote. Dr. Hausman?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Yeah.
The chair votes aye. Fiscal year 18 appropriations. Entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any questions or discussion?
I've got one on the school renovation. How come we're appropriating 2.6 million when we haven't even paid the A&E fees
Well,
yet?
basically what this is before we can pay anything, even a water bill next month or whatever, we have to appropriate the first quarter's expenditures. And what's here is 1/4 of everybody's budgets for appropriation. That doesn't mean anything is spent. It just means that money is appropriated and can be used. A lot of these things will not be used at all until February or March or whenever the road, but it's just a first quarter appropriation.
We should have put that on spelled it out like this, first quarter appropriations for the fiscal year 18, 17, 18. Any other questions? Hearing none, we'll do a roll call vote. Dr. Hausman?
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Yeah.
And chair votes aye. Next is animal shelter boarding fees. Mr. Burr, you want to summarize this?
Yeah, currently our fees are set at $6. Our animal control officers have checked other areas and localities and private rates or whatever, and recommend increasing the fee to $10 per day. I concur with that recommendation of increasing the fee to $10 a day.
I entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Have a second.
I'll second.
Have a motion and a second. Any questions or discussion?
Do we have a lot of people board dogs at
Well,
the kennel?
that's our fee for when people come pick them. It's just called a boarding fee, but we don't actually do actual boarding. But when we are holding dogs, people come pick them up, that's the fee that they pay.
You mean like if my dog got out, animal shelter got it, they kept it for 3 days, okay,
Yes, sir.
okay.
How long has the fees been $6?
Approximately how many dogs does Blaine County keep?
It varies. Sometimes Bland works real good with the rescue agency up there, that the dogs they get, they don't actually come to us. Some months it's more that come into us. It just varies. It's not a lot that come into us.
And we euthanize very few dogs
Yes,
anymore.
with our rescue agencies that work with us, the volunteers that come down there and do work, they do a tremendous job of networking, social media, phone calls, and getting the dogs adopted out of the shelter, and that has been wonderful. To answer your question, I can find out, but I would estimate years. Definitely longer than 10 years, maybe more than that.
And Stephen, you've got a lot of frequent flyers too. There's some dogs that show up over there every month. They're the same dog from the same family. And maybe this will help get them to come and get them a little quicker, and control them staying at home a little better.
Okay, any more discussion? I mean, and that's still cheap. I mean, you go board a dog at one of the vets and it's a whole lot more than that. Any more questions or discussion? Hearing none, we'll do a roll call vote. Mr. Horny?
Aye.
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 The chair votes aye. Next item is June 13th, 2017, abstract of votes. Do we have to approve this? We do, don't we?
Just have to accept it.
Accept it, not approve it, accept it.
I make a motion we accept them as presented.
Have a second.
Second.
Have a motion, second. Any questions or discussion? Hearing none, do a roll call vote. Dr. Hausman?
Aye.
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 And the chair votes aye. Next item, Stevens State Corporation Commission.
Informational purposes only, I got about a 40-page document, 37 pages of it were nothing but listing every county and every city and every attorney for the counties and cities on it. But basically, it's just that the State Corporation Commission is opening up for all PSAPs dispatch centers down here to look at the rules that were passed in 2004. And it's basically just giving notice that they're going to open those up and look at all of those. Informational purposes only, but it came to, I think, Mr. Farthing and myself, so I'm just sharing it with the board.
Okay.
I have shared it also with Darlene, so if there's any, as she and her regional group are working, if there's any recommendations or changes that they recommend, which would be where most recommendations would come from.
Okay, the next item, Mr. Barrett, Quality Care, just ambulance service.
Yes, I don't know if we have a representative here, Quality Care. Quality Care Logistics Service, ambulance service is a individual from the eastern end of the county that contacted Mr. Busick this week and is interested in starting a transport service. He has an ambulance and he's working on getting his licensing to do transports only. He has been advised, and I put in the code package here, that he needed to get a resolution from the Board of Supervisors. And we've had one of these come up before for a rescue or a transport service from another locality a couple years ago. I questioned the requirement, and we have been working on that, and Scott can comment on this as well. In your package is on page 266, it says local governing bodies shall have approval for the establishment of a volunteer emergency medical service agency or firefighting agency. What has been looked at here is not a volunteer emergency services agency. I'll let Scott chime in and give opinion. My recommendation would be for just us sending a letter that it is a business, a business, for-profit business that has been provided, and Wythe County has no ordinances or laws or objections to them starting business. But it has not been approved as a volunteer emergency response organization system.
Yeah, but do they have to be able to do any care when transporting that individual?
They have to have they do have to have a quality of care that they do have to meet. and that is part of the Virginia Office of Emergency Services permit that they receive. They have to show, there's a checklist of equipment and training and all that those individuals have to have.
Let's add, it's not near the level a rescue squad has to do. They don't have to have ALS approved people. I think they may have to have approved drivers, but they don't do medications and things on transports.
Well, have we, Richardson,
They don't.
I know, I think that's based out of Smith County.
Yeah.
And they do transports all the time in Wythe County. Did we do any kind of resolution for them? I don't remember.
No, and we looked back through that, and that was one of the issues that came up, and I don't remember if it was exactly Richardson's or another group that came in here, and there was a request for a resolution on it, and after review, did not do a resolution. They weren't even based in Wythe County.
Well, Trinity was,
Trinity, the same way.
well, they wasn't based in Wythe County?
They did come into Wythe County and establish a place for a while, yes, up next to the hospital.
But there wasn't no resolution or anything passed.
I agree with Stephen in response. It is not a emergency response agency. They're not designated from our call center to take calls. They're just simply transporting. The code section that they cite for this resolution only applies to volunteer organizations, and this is not a volunteer organization. I really don't think the resolution is necessary. I don't think it hurts us if we need to do it so somebody can do business here, but the other people are operating here without it. So I think a letter like Stephen recommends is the way to go, and then if they want us to do something more, then we can come back to the board with that.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, could we take another approach to this? Let's don't do anything until we study it a little bit more. If he doesn't have the business ready to go, it won't hurt to table this till the next meeting, give y'all time to find out more about it.
Okay.
And make sure he gets licensed, proper
Well,
license.
in order to get his license, he's required to have this from us, is what they're saying. And that's why I was going to send the letter, if that was acceptable, because.
To explain
just
our
to say
position.
That our position on it and that way, but I mean, if y'all don't want me to send the letter, I will, but he can't get his license, is what Ron Kendrick with the Office of Emergency Medical Service, who he has to apply for, same people that we work with on our rescue squads. He is the one that's indicated to him that he needs the resolution. And I will be giving Ron a call. This has happened quickly, and that's why my only recommendation was to just send a letter that it is not needed.
Okay, I'll entertain a motion to approve the county administrator to send a letter of our position to Quality Care.
I'll make that motion.
To have a second.
Second.
Have a motion, second. Any further discussion or questions? Hearing none, we'll do a roll call vote. Dr. Hausman?
Aye.
Aye.
The chair votes aye. Okay, next item on the agenda is a closed meeting. We also want to add
Legal services.
legal services to that.
For the Keystone
Mr. Willis, if you'll. Yes,
Is
wait a minute.
Is there anything about personnel?
Williams here with us today. Can we discuss that a little bit? See what went on, what's going on with the Recreation Commission? I mean, I got 7 to 10 calls about it. I'd like to know what's going on.
Yep.
I will start out the comments, and then if we need to go into closed session to discuss personnel, we can add that to our closed item agenda if we want to discuss personnel. The two incidents that they spoke of, will not disagree with their comments on the reason for the disqualifications. The Max Meadows Booster Club on the girls softball did receive an email from the Parks and Recreation Department indicating that 2 11-year-old girls could play down on a 8, 9, 10-year-old softball league. This softball league is a regional softball league of surrounding counties and cities. It is not just a Wythe County organization only. Should not have occurred. The rules, the meetings that the representatives had clearly discussed if anyone would be allowed to move down in the age bracket, when the age bracket everyone was to play within the age range they were. Should not have happened from the beginning. It was not until tournament time that the question was brought up. The tournament was being held at the Wytheville facility, the Wytheville Recreation. We worked jointly with Wytheville, and we were overseeing the baseball tournament here. They were overseeing the softball tournament down there. Question was brought up, and after it was questioned and looked into, there were 2 players on there that were not eligible to play. Should not have happened from the beginning. On the second item, the Southwest Virginia baseball rules did state that there was a 15-inning limit to the tournament. There appears to have been some miscommunication or misunderstanding of that rule. There was pool play. Our pool play was our county and town teams, and I don't remember which it was, but I'll say pool A, and Carroll County's teams may have been B, and Floyd's and somebody else is in C or whatever. Then all those came together to, after they won the first pool, to come together for the championship. Mr. Williams has talked to all the departments yesterday, or all the rec clubs from these organizations yesterday. And the rules were understood by all of them to be 15 innings throughout the entire tournament. It is my understanding, from what I understand from the Max Meadows Butcher Club, they were advised and understood from both us and possibly the Wytheville Parks and Recreation Department that the rules reset after you got out of the first pool play and were playing against the winners of the other. We did not have a representative at the games the other night when they were playing. Those games were over in Carroll County, and a Wythe County representative should have been at those games overseeing the county side. Also, based on the information they presented of all the discussions that happened beforehand, we need to be talking with the Carroll and other booster clubs to understand why everyone was not informed that after the first game, to understand there was a concern there of the pitching rules interpretation. Should have been brought up to the other 2 teams at that time, or other 4 teams left to play to make something. But both incidents are incidences of Max Meadows not doing anything differently than what they have been advised by the Recreation Department, and the final been the misinterpretation of the rule. And Mr. Williams and I had several discussions over the last few days and yesterday on this latest one, and we are addressing the issue.
Mr. Mayor, can I add something to what you were talking about? Baseball and softball are the only sports that our kids play that are based off of age. All other sports through the rec department are based off of grade level. So these 11-year-old girls were the same grade, or same 5th grade level as their teammates. It wasn't like they were 6th graders playing down. It was a few months, they were the same grade. But baseball and softball are the only sports that are determined by age as of July 1st. And I agree with you on, the girls were too old. They should have been told to start with, but when they wrote the email, they shouldn't have backtracked and backpedaled. They should have stood behind what they said. And that's my big problem with this, is these are grown men, and they're not manning up.
Okay, before we go into closed session, before Mr. Willis reads this.
I have something I'd like to say.
Okay.
I think we need to be sure that stuff like this doesn't happen again. Because you're playing with kids, and they're very easily hurt.
I would like to add personnel to that too, on the thing. So if you'll read the motion to go into closed session.
All right, Mr. Chairman, I move that the Wythe County Board of Supervisors convene in closed meeting to discuss the following as permitted by Virginia Code 2.237A1, A5, and A7.
Okay, do I have a second?
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any discussion or questions? All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? We're now in closed session.
Hereby certifies that to the best of each member's knowledge, only public business matters lawfully exempted from open meeting requirements by Virginia law were discussed in the closed meeting to which this certification resolution applies, and only such public business matters as were identified in the motion convening the closed meeting were heard, discussed, or considered by the Wythe County Board of Supervisors.
I have a second on adopting the resolution. Any discussion or questions? Hearing none. Dr. Hausman?
Aye.
The chair votes aye. You have your informational pack. You can go through it. Stevens, anything? Anything else you need to bring before the board?
Just for informational purposes, despite the fact that Martha's probably had it in front of us most of the year, I didn't even realize two weeks ago, the governor has given July 3rd as a state holiday, so the offices will be closed Monday and Tuesday of next week.
Okay.
Well, he didn't call and ask us about that.
No, we didn't.
That's wonderful. I need the day off.
Is anything else?
What's got something?
Go.
Stephen, we've got something we need to deal with because we don't meet again for 2 weeks as a board, right?
Okay.
We've got the plans and specs back here for the expo building. We need to, I briefly looked at specs and briefly looked at the plans. We've got to have it in these specifications that the county has the right to negotiate. That's another lump sum contract, is what they've written. And I will not vote for a lump sum contract that they've written. We need negotiating room that we can break that project up to get it built as near the specifications as we can and with the most economy. And that document does not do that.
The two big spec
Right.
books that just came out.
It's a typical water deal.
They are still referencing the EJDC documents, and that's, Scott Farley's got that, and that's where we talked when we have our Economic Development Committee next Thursday. That was your request at our last meeting that we met, was to go over those documents and talk about the board taking action to vote on establishing those general conditions and everything to go in those specification books.
Yeah, and if you read these, if you can give Scott a printout of section 01 in that area,
Right.
that's instructions to the bidders, it does exactly what we were talking about. It puts all the decision-making back to the A&E firm, and they're going to charge us an hourly rate for answering the phone and research. That needs to come back to the county for those kind of things. Also, if you read these documents that they've got prepared for us, it's a lump sum bid for everything that's in the plans and specs. That's the only price we can get right now. We can't do the sectional and save $1 million.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm done.
You done now?
Yeah.
Okay, Coy.
Building ground.
I don't want to come in and meet with you all July 4th, then we'll just postpone that.
Okay.
To the following Tuesday.
And we'll go to the following Tuesday.
Well, and I'm not on that committee.
Yeah, if Martha will,
That will be a regular meeting.
Regular meeting that night.
Oh, okay.
if Martha
You
will
need
make
to do
sure
it
we all
early.
get there. Can you do that, Martha?
Okay, thank you.
Okay, does anybody have anything else? Hearing none, we are adjourned.